bad, even though I know it was in my best interest and the team's best interest to sit that one out. Just when you're not out there with your guys, especially when it's guys that you've played with as much as I've played with some of these guys on offense. Yeah, it's like a guilty feeling. It really is. So as soon as you can get back out there, that's one thing that's going to drive you to want to be back out there is when you don't get to be. You know?
How did that feeling shift after the game when the score flipped?
Of course, I want to see us win. You know, I mean that's great, but it doesn't really change the fact that I wasn't out there with them, and that sucks. Not a good feeling. And again, I know it's just one game, and you know, but they're all really meaningful. So yeah.
What do you maybe make you guys move forward?
I think. Obviously, it's a beautiful thing that we were able to win that game when it seemed like the deck was stacked against us. I think it makes you go back and reflect, and you know, this is easy for me to say as a guy who didn't play in the game, but let's not let winning overshadow us trying to improve or looking for areas to improve. And I don't think that's something that happened because sometimes you go out there and you have stretches where you just don't play well, and it's not because of lack of preparation or lack of want to. But I think it just kind of can recalibrate you and make you kind of not take that for granted, the preparation.
Taylor, you guys have such a good thing going right now. Is there even a balance between, you know, the competitive side of you wanting to be out there, but knowing like you need to be out there in January, February more than, you know, week 10 against Jacksonville? Is there any, I don't know, fine line that you have to walk with that, I guess?
There's not a fine line I have to walk. I think that I leave that up to the medical staff, and I've told Brett and Mike since they've got there, if I'm being stupid, I need you to protect me from myself. And that's their job, and that's what they do. Because ultimately, you know, if you leave it up to the player, I mean, 9 times out of 10 they're going to play even if they shouldn't. And every game's important to me. I mean, we only get to play 17, and you know, all things are pointing to us being in the playoffs, of course. So I've had plenty of seasons where we don't get to. So every game's important to me, and I think, like I said, the biggest thing is, when you're so used to being out there with your teammates and guys that you've played a lot of football with, when you're not out there, it's just a shitty feeling. It doesn't feel good. So you want to be out there, whether it's, you know, week 10 and you're mathematically eliminated, or if it's week 10 and you're rolling. It doesn't change my desire to be out there and play.
As an observer, kept a book on NFC rushers for a long time. NFC North rushers for a long time. You know Zadarius very well. What is this team getting in him?
Well, first and foremost, I've always just liked him as a person. He's always been just like a cool guy. Not that I've talked at length with him, but just throughout the game and after the game, just, you know, saying what's up. I just liked him. And then as far as a rusher, I've always said he's got incredibly violent hands. And he was like that back when he was in Baltimore, and then we've obviously seen him for a while in our division here. Incredibly violent hands, powerful guy. And I think one thing is he's able to line up all across the field. You'll see him over the center, you'll see him over guards, and then tons of times you're going to be lining up one-on-one with a pass rush or offensive tackle. And then I think for him, he's kind of got some of that swagger, that confidence, because we got some young guys out there playing on the edge, and I think it was really cool. I stayed home for this past game, but seeing his engagement in the game on the broadcast, you can just tell he's super excited to be here, and I'm pumped to have him.
As an observer, how were you when Jake was lining up as the ball is delivered? Do you lean a little bit as the kick is there, or were you fully confident with his leg?
Oh, of course. We know he's got a big leg. It's almost like the farther back he is, the better he is. He wants to swing away at him, and we've seen him hit some bombs in practice and obviously in games at this point. Pretty incredible for him. I mean, especially it was 2 kicks within it was 5 minutes of clock time. Big time. I mean, that's some big time stuff, and I think he's from the Houston area, I believe, so pretty incredible. I mean, that's a guy that's kind of got ice in his veins and steps up to the plate when we need him.
Were you nervous watching that? Like, were you trying to lead it one way or the other as you're watching on TV?
Well, I was in bed and my wife was asleep, so I was just kind of trying to stay still, be quiet. So I did wake her up and told her we won. So and she was like, "That's great," and went back to sleep.
The pass protection thing, just real quick. I don't think it's any major red flag or anything, but you guys have had a few sacks, or Jared's taken a few hits the last few weeks. Is there what do you need to correct, I guess, in that area going forward? Collectively as a unit.
I mean, there's a combination of winning your one-on-ones. There's a combination of passing off games, and then it's always going to be an entire offensive thing. So we need to be able to give the quarterback time if we, excuse me, I was going to sneeze. We need to be able to give the quarterback time if we want the ball out, and we got to give him a good pocket to be able to work in, because even if maybe you're engaged with your guy, but you're too close to him, he can't get the ball out on time, or he's going to hit his hand on your helmet. So it's a whole offensive thing, but for us up front, overall not up to our standard for sure.
Thanks, Taylor.